Well. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is the one and only Freddie Henderson. They like to call me Freddie Facts because I speak nothing but facts, and you can learn a few things from me. But this is not that type of episode today, ladies and gentlemen, where you go hear a lot of screaming, a lot of going off, and all of that. Today, we have an exclusive one-on-one interview with the one and only Kelsey Nicole Nelson. And before we bring her on, we're going to introduce her. She has a pretty lengthy bio. This is a woman that is very talented. I like to call her a friend in the media world. She's very talented, very knowledgeable about her sports and other things as well. A pillar in the community of African American women. Just got a lot of good things going on in the Washington area. There's just a few things, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to go over everything, but if you want to see some of the things that she is doing, and then you can look at it for yourself. On air contributor for the NBA on air last night. She's on the Tonight Daily NBA show on Valley Sports. Works with Fox Sports. Just have a lot of good stuff going on. Down there in the Washington D.C. area. So make sure that you check her out. When we bring her on, I will help her. I'll have her tell her tell you guys where you can find her. That's enough of me talking. I'm going to bring up the one and only Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Hey, Kelsey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good, Freddie. How are you? Thanks for having me on. It's good to meet you. Well, I almost said good to meet you. Good to be with you, Freddie.
Yeah, there
Thank
you go. There you go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I just want to thank you for taking time out your busy
you.
schedule to come on and just talk sports. Let the people know a little bit about yourself. Please let the people know where they can find you.
Of course, yeah. Easiest way to find me is my website, KelseyNicoleNelson.com. And then on social media, The Real K Nelson, and then Facebook and LinkedIn, just Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Yeah, connect with me. I love connecting with people. Obviously, I love talking sports. That's why I made a career out of it. And yeah, I just love just being in community with folks, Freddie, and, just talking the good. We need more good in the world. So I've been blessed to be able to talk sports for a living.
There you go. Hey, I just told the audience how busy you are. Please let them know briefly what does a day look like for you, like from morning to like
Oh
now.
gosh, let me tell you, no one should ever have the days that I have. I will tell people there's a chaos in my calm, but it's wild. And especially now that we're in the school year. So I'm about to be on week 3 of school, though we'll see if this snowstorm that they're talking about in the DMV region happens, because otherwise I'll be online. So Monday, Wednesday, I teach 8 to 9:15, Freddie, at George Washington in DC at my sports writing and reporting course, which has been so much fun to have. And like I said, we're in week 3. We're just getting assigned GW athletic beats. Usually after class, I'm meeting with the student or having some type of meeting. And then after that, usually, honestly, I'm thrust onto online meetings, Freddie, from a lot of boards that I'm on and groups, and then client meetings. I have 2 businesses. One is my podcast network, which listen with KNN. And then I have a communications consulting firm called Cryption. And so those obviously take up a bulk of my day, meeting with interns and fellows. I got a FAMU intern for Cryption. I have 8 for listening with KNN. And that doesn't even include my mentees that I have. So somehow all of that talking and communication happens. Usually my evenings, of course, is sports coverage, either virtually or in person. And then a lot of either in person in studio or virtual talking about sports. And then I have a lot of galas and networking events too. So today is obviously a chill day. I get to be chill dressed, which I'm so happy about. Thanks to the snow. I feel like the stuff that I did have got rescheduled. But I will tell you, Freddie, in all of it, and no day is truly the same, but I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that when I have freedom of my schedule. So it's busy, but it's usually with things that I want to do. And so I'm grateful for that, right? And then 2, I'm always meeting new people. And then soon I'll be on the road traveling. So soon my schedule's going to be crazier because I'll be in Cali for 2 weeks with All-Star and Super Bowl week. So, oh my gosh, I'm trying to, and then still teaching. So teaching online and bringing everything I need to still be doing in DC, just virtual. So right now it's me trying to plan out the crazy schedule so I can try to be everywhere at once. But essentially my schedule is me being a talent, me being a boss woman, me mentoring and giving back, which is so important to me. And then me trying to have a life all the while while all that's happening.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, and a short verbiage of me, we need to hurry up with this interview because I just don't see how your vocals is ready to it needs to rest. When do it rest? So we need to get along with the interview. First, let's just talk about the history that you're part of, what you're doing, breaking the barriers in sports media. What obstacles have you faced in sports media as a woman but on top of that, being an African American woman on top of that.
Freddie, I love this question. I'm so grateful. Like, I'm humbled. I always say, like, be humble, don't be humbled. And that really is the story, of my journey. And, when people say that, I think it still hits me. Like, in the day, I'm just doing what I think I should be doing. But I'm very big on lifting as you climb. And, it was last year, Freddie, that I got to host a one-on-one Simon's talk with Jane Kennedy, who, if you're a sports fan, hopefully but the first Black woman on air on CBS Sports on the NFL Today show, talking about football. And so to be kind of full circle, interviewing her about her new book and memoir, and we share being from the same hometown area in the DMV area. This is where she was born. This is where I was born. It meant something to me. So all that to say, I think I love to talk with her, one, because I thought about the barriers, Freddie, she overcame, again, being the first. And honestly, it's a little scary at the same time, because since she sat on the NFL Today desk, and I'm sure all of us watch the NFL Today, right, on Sundays for football, there has not been a Black woman at that desk since. And so I share that to say, like, I think we are making so many strides. Like, one of my roles is covering college football. So like many of you all, I was watching the college football game last year. I just became a Heisman voter last year, which I hold with so much pride. But I think the biggest thing, of course, in terms of obstacles, Freddie, is obviously when I step into the room, this is what people see. They see a Black woman, and I own it and wear it proudly. But Freddie, in many rooms, there's not enough. Right. And I just mean diversity in media in general, like there. And that's kind of why, again, I sit on the different groups that I'm part of. Like I just became part of the board of PRSA, Sports Society of America, and our Entertainment and Sports Board. I want to make sure that we're pushing the narrative, both not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well, in the communication space, as well. So I think the biggest thing is, one, you have to establish people knowing that you belong in the room. That's always been the biggest challenge, Freddie, making sure people know that you belong and you're there for a reason, and that you're going to do a hell of a good job at your job. And so that's what I think I spend a lot of my day doing, right? It's a world where you have to prove it every single day. I think of every day as a brand new slate. I think of every day as an audition. This is what social media can be used for good for, is just to remind people, like, this is the resume. This is what I've done. I think that's the biggest thing. But I think the other thing is honestly just being underestimated, Freddie. That's why I work so hard. I mean, I always have this underdog mentality. And I think a lot of people think I'm not supposed to be doing what I'm doing. The course that I teach at GW is something that I launched. I built the curriculum from scratch. And I can't tell you how many people ask me if I'm a student. Now, mind you, I'm grateful at my age that people still think I'm that young. But at the same time, there's people even who have had letters from students that take my class, say they want to take my class because they never had somebody that looked like me in the classroom. That means something, right? Like, I still remember my first ever Black teacher, Mrs. Vance. Let me tell you, she was the bomb. Like, she would walk in, she was dressed the ones, she didn't play around. And I was like, I want to be like Miss Vance when I grew up, just a Black woman owned in the room. And so all that to say, I think it's so vital and so important that all the things that we face, and I'm sure you face the same thing, like Black men also facing struggles, breaking into sports media. It's not an easy field. It is not for the weary. I will be the first to say that. You have to be hungry. You have to work hard. You have to have a nonstop grind and hustle. And all the while, you need to be joyful while you're doing it, because it's also something that many people would love to do, right? Remembering that privilege. But I think for me, like I said, it's just, I think the two anomalies, right? We still know, women are still fighting and breaking barriers in sports. I got asked a question the other day when I was speaking to a group of students. They're like, why do we still see so many women just in sideline and, not in the analyst chair? And, one of the steps that I took more recently was becoming a color analyst for American Women's University basketball. And I loved it. And I loved it. But at the same time, I hadn't been usually offered. Usually the sideline was what I was offered. And I took it because I loved it. I did like sideline. Like, I really do love interviewing somebody, getting the nugget that's going to help the broadcast propel forward. So all that to say, I think there's still spaces and places, Freddie, that we're not the majority in, that we're not known in. And then even when it comes to jobs and opportunities, I can't tell you how many times, it's just getting passed up for something, for somebody or something else. But I think for me, it's just a reminder of my why. And honestly, it's why I just keep on pushing. Because there's still a lot more work to do to make sure that, again, we become the norm in sports media, and that our voices are always welcome, especially in sports talk radio, which there's still not even close to enough Black women in sports talk radio.
I absolutely agree, and that's very inspirational to us small time people that's trying to make it big. That's trying to
we are
take
not
the
small
level.
time. I see all these comments coming in. You have a following, you have a voice, you have a platform. Somebody that's doing that. I'm so proud of you and what you've done.
Oh, I appreciate it. I love it. I appreciate it. But I mean, hey, you're Kelsey Nicole Nelson. I mean, the one thing that I preach to the team, hey, I preach to the team over here at Prime Cover Sports Network, that the only way we're going to make it is by the grind, by the dedication. And if we're not all in, we will not achieve the goal. So we have to be all in. So it's very a positive thing to hear from someone with all the background, all the accolades that you have accomplished in your career, in your early career, because you have a long time ahead of you. You're
Thank
just
you.
getting
Freddie,
started.
I
You're
don't feel
getting
like that
started.
sometimes. Let me tell you, especially with my students, I be feeling old. They be talking about something. I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm behind the TikTok trends.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
But thank you
Um,
for making me feel young.
yeah. So, what advice would you give? Like, you're looking at you right now
Yeah.
in the area that you are in your career. What would you tell the 15, the 16, the 18-year-old Kelsey Nicole Nelson? What type of advice would you give yourself or any other young African American young lady out there about the sports media business?
I think the advice I tell my younger self, honestly, Freddie, is don't be afraid to do it your own way. And
Mm,
what I mean by that is, I think for me, and it really is the betting on yourself theme. So I think I had a very conventional path into journalism, right? Went to journalism school, did all I needed to do, graduated, went to grad school, got another degree. But one of the things I did, I think that a lot of people would question is I decided to bet on myself and stay in my hometown area in the nation's capital. It just didn't make sense to me ever, Freddie, to leave. And so, I think for a while though, like I just always didn't know if this was my place. But little did I know that this was where I was meant to be. Like I've been able to brand and build everything off of being like a DMV sports authority, right? A DC sports authority. And it's hard, don't get me wrong, because DC is it's the nation's capital. It's the most powerful city in the world, you
right.
know, and then it's like the power. Oh, and yeah, we have sports and we're always trying to fight for sports, right? In the city. But I think it's so important, Freddie, to own that and
Mm,
own it in your heart, wear it on your chest, wear it like a badge of honor, and know that no one like you is going to do it like you. And with that too, I think the other piece of advice, Freddie, would just be to be authentic. Be you. Look, I'm a smiler. I'm big energy naturally. This is who I am. I've been this way since I was little. So do you and bring it. And know people will love you for that. Now, yes, you're always gonna have some people who don't like you for that, but guess what? That's on them. At the end of the day,
right.
I think the biggest thing too, in terms of advice, Freddie, you gotta like I pick a word of the year every year. Last year was intentionality. This year is focus. And this is such a field, Freddie, that if you want it, you have to be hungry for it and you need to stay focused, which means staying the course, staying dedicated, staying determined. And the biggest thing I think in this field is staying disciplined. I can't tell you how many
Mm,
times I am the bad friend that's like, nope, can't make that happy hour. Sorry, friends. Because look, a lot of the times when we want to be doing stuff, sports are on. I need to literally be watching the game, right? Analyzing the game, doing my game notes, right? And again, that takes a certain type of discipline to know, like, and mind you, I think people see my social and think like, oh, she's always outside. Y'all, I know how to schedule my posts.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand that whole process and understand a lot of the galas and stuff I'm at, again, as part of the role, part of the job. But I think that's the biggest thing. Like when you focus in on this work, Freddie, everything will come naturally because you have to love it. You have to love the long nights. You have to love the hours. You have to love the craziness of the schedule that happens last minute, breaking news, boom, and be
Yeah.
able to be on it. You have to also know that you have to truly do be a jack of all trades in this business. People expect you to know
Mm,
everything as it relates to your beat and what you're trying to build, right? And so that means endless research, being a lifelong learner, being an endless educator, right? Of
mm,
this craft in this role. And so I think that's the biggest thing. Like I said, I think if you be authentic, Freddie, if you stay focused, and if you really love this job, and probably the biggest piece of advice is just be a good person. And I mean that to the fullest extent, which means to me, Freddie, greeting everybody you come by in this industry, everybody from the grounds crew, to the locksmith, like I don't care who it is, like to all the coaches, not just the head coach, like being a good person and just being a good person to be around. I also do truly think good people, good things happen to. And you should be a good person anyways, right? I just think being a good person at the end of the day will also just kind of fully help you in this craft. But I feel like if you do all those things, and of course, just have a relentless work ethic, work harder, work smarter than anybody else in the room, you will have longevity and a career in this industry. And I truly do mean that.
the one thing that I love that you mentioned is a jack of all trades. I take that personal because I remember a few years ago, I was doing another network and I would depend on everybody to do this. Okay, can you make the graphic for here? Can you make a breaking news flyer for here? Can you do this? But I took it personal to learn to do these things myself. That
Right.
is nothing personal against the team that I have because they still have to do their part. But
Of
at the
course.
end of the day, in order for this brand to grow, I have to be upfront doing the grind, putting the work in, doing everything if nobody else is doing it. So
Right.
I love that attitude. That mindset. Prime Cover Sports Network. Kelsey just dropped some nuggets for us. Hey, we have a production meeting tomorrow. I might clip that part of the interview and make them just watch the first 10 minutes
Look,
of the
don't be making
show.
me sound like the mean old woman, Freddie.
No. You just gave us the map, the key of how to be successful. It's nothing about education. It's nothing about this or that. It's all about the grind and the dedication and the
Inside
mindset.
side of you. Yeah, like literally, like I tell people this all the time. Like I'm so grateful for the journey. And let me tell you, like I'm here, Freddie, because people see it and they
Mm,
see the work ethic, right? They see the grind and they're speaking my names into rooms. But in order to have that done, you have to put the product out there,
mm,
right? You have to know that you are the best at your craft. Meaning you're going to work harder and smarter. I think that's important to say. Work harder and smarter. Because I don't care if you go to every game in the book. If you're not knowing how to promote yourself and promote your content, right, and
yeah,
make it make sense, then it's not going to go anywhere. But that's
mm,
the biggest thing. Like I said, have a team around you. But like you said, at the end of the day, like I have an amazing team. I'm so grateful. My interns, my fellows, like I will sing them to the highest of the mountaintops. But as you said, sometimes things need to be done and they need to be quick. So let me tell you, I can get on Canva real quick and design something
yeah,
if I need to, right? And not wait for it. I teach sports writing, though. I'm a broadcaster. I know how to write, right? In
mm,
addition to doing the speaking, right? I'm not staying in my bubble. I get out of DC. I go cover national events, right? I need
mm,
to know a lot about everything. And so I think
yeah,
that's a challenge yourself. I wouldn't work for NASCAR. I had never watched NASCAR before I worked for them. You also have to challenge yourself into knowing new things to be that jack of all trades. And mind you, I think when that happens, you become more well-rounded, more well-versed. And in this job economy, people want people who can kind of do everything because that's going to show your true value.
mm. Well, let's transition to an old story. It's not old, but I mean it's still relevant, still
Yeah.
important, and it's something that I think you're the best person to answer. A few weeks ago, the Jacksonville Jaguars lost in the playoffs. And
Mhm.
then we seen an African American reporter by the
Yeah.
name of Lynn Jones Turpin had a moment with the head coach. And a lot of people they felt some type of way about the conversation. They felt, it wasn't professional. They felt that it wasn't for whatever reason. They had an issue with it. Um what was your reaction to that? And if you had to give any type of advice, what advice would you give to us reporters that's breaking these news, that's in these media rooms interviewing
Yeah.
coaches and players? Was she wrong? Was she wrong, or how would you have handled that
Yeah.
situation?
Well, one, honestly, I'm glad we're having the conversation. And I think, let me say this, I think Miss Lynn came from goodwill and good spirit with her, with her interaction with the coach. I don't think it was ill-willed. And let's be honest, we and you can be honest. All of us know like that black older woman vibe, and that's what I felt like she had. Like it's okay, baby, like you got this, and that's any black mom or older woman in the room. But I will say this, and I shared this with my class. I think two of the biggest roles we have as journalists, right, is to be unbiased and objective. Now, I will say this: when she said the response back to coach, right, to Liam, I actually did not mind. And I think it's okay to start with, either praise, because I think where empathy is a thing, right? Hard loss. I said it before in a press conference. Congrats on the win, coach. Ended there. Question, right? I think for me, my problem with her response back, I thought, well, one, right, the full question wasn't really in it. And so for me, I thought a lot of the back and forth should have been small talk that could have happened, not when coach is at the podium. Now, all of us know when you're covering a team and you get to know the coaches and players, there's small talk that happens, right? Not everything makes the papers, not everything makes the mainstream media. It can happen there. But in the press conference, the role in your job, right, is literally to get a response back to what happened, to ask the questions, not for me to just give you my thoughts on it. For all that, we could open it up for fans. But honestly, my biggest thing with what Miss Lynn did, and I don't think, again, I think everybody's different. She has a career as a journalist. My biggest thing though, I just thought it was more leading the coach into what she wanted him to say. You cannot be leading with any questions or statements as a journalist. You know, if I'm like, like it was very comforting. And like I said, it's like she was trying to gear him into saying what she wanted. And I know, again, it didn't come from ill will, but all that to say, I think my bigger thing on all that happened, Freddie, is the diversity that we need to continue to see in these rooms. That's honestly where I wanted the conversation to go. We could sit here and knick-knack and pity-whack all over that. Look, Jaguars are gone. Miss Lynn's probably back home chilling right now on her couch watching a good old sitcom. How do we move and advance forward, right? I think that's the biggest thing. And so I think for me, again, I think it's a good learning moment. But how do we make sure diverse voices are in that media room? And mind you, you don't only have to ask questions about the game in a press conference. I heard some people saying that. Like, a press conference is based on the angle of your story and what you need to get, right? As a journalist, you're going to ask questions based off of that. Because I think what he did, honestly, with how young in his infancy he was, right, with that Jags team, was pretty remarkable. Yeah. And that to me was the big story. But like I said, I think for me, like, you just have to be careful with, leading. You can't be leading with that. Let them open up and lead you as a journalist, and then you can follow up with that. So I'll just say, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and, like knick-knack an older Black woman journalist. But again, I think it's a learning lesson for young journalists, going back to your question, Freddie, on what to do. Because if we're real, to get a media credential for teams, you have to be what, Freddie? You have to be approved, right? And they're going to look at your body of work. They're going to look at how you carry yourself. And I think the last thing you want to do is be questioned about your media credential and maybe lose access. And not even just for you. Remember, when you're in that room, you're representing a lot of other people too. How do you make sure that others can come behind you? So that's kind of where my mind went. How do we make sure that the noise and narrative around that doesn't hurt other Black media members who, if you've been in the NFL press conference room, they're not the majority in NFL press conference room. So how can we make sure that the Black press gets a fair and equal shot to have access to those media rooms? I think that should be a larger part of the conversation.
And for the people that have not watched this moment, I just want to read the script to you. And it reads, "Coach, I just want to say, I know this hurts. You poured everything into this team, and I hope you know that your leadership and your heart still matters, even in this moment." So, and I just want to say this. In these media rooms, they can get nasty. They can get ugly. The most toughest questions, statements can be brought along. So I understand that she should have still been a little bit more professional to the status quo, as you would say. But it also was refreshing to see that somebody actually cared, that it was somebody on the other side. And us as a national people in the world, we don't know. She covers them year in, year out. So we don't really know what the relationship is in between in that media room as well. So this is just one of those things that they get picked up. But and I'm pretty sure she'll learn from it and she'll move differently from it.
Of course. But that's what I'm saying.
It was definitely refreshing.
To their relation. And I think it was, right? Like I said, it's hard. But at the same time, Freddie, being a sports journalist is not being a friend. Being a sports journalist is asking those questions. It's asking the questions when it's good, and it's asking the questions when it's bad. Believe me, sometimes I think sports journalists get a bad stick in terms of they have to ask, and it's kind of like, you don't ever ask kind of like, well, why did you lose? That's the worst question you can ask. Obviously, as a journalist, you're going to take the stats, you're going to take what you saw, and you're going to ask a more thoughtful question as to why they lost, right? So it might be like, oh, you guys had trouble, with the run game when after this whole season, you guys were dominant at the run, what was it about the opposing team's defense that enabled stops, right? Much better way to probably ask that question. So I think, again, as a journalist, I think that's the biggest thing. I think sometimes social media, and I think this is when journalists, and notice I'm saying the term journalist, is different than a content creator, is different than an influencer, is different than anybody else that could be in that room. Because Freddie, let's be honest, anybody can go in that room and ask a question to coach after a game, right? It's not like it's a hard thing to do. But again, as a journalist, it's remembering the principles and the values that we have, and knowing, again, sometimes you have to ask those tough questions. And I think if you really want to be a journalist and differentiate yourself, those are the ones that are able to do so. And mind you, coach might not like it. I'm sure, but at the same time, we're not there to be besties and friends. All of us have enough besties and friends. Sure, Freddie, you're a likable guy. I'm sure you have enough friends, right? At the end of the day, your job as a journalist, and in that
sometimes too many.
is to hold that. So I think that's the bigger thing. I completely agree. It was a nice moment. And like, so you can say that, like I said, I've said in the press conference, congrats on the win, coach. But then I went to my question. I wasn't there patting him on the back, like, oh, coach, that was great. That was good, coach. That's not my role.
Yeah.
Be a journalist.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's transition into some football. Kelsey Nicole Nelson, she's you're a Washington Commanders fan, correct? You're a fan? I know you cover, but
you haven't done your research then. Yeah, so I worked for them and I cover them, but I'm
you're
a
Ravens fan.
Freddie. Crab cakes and football, yes. So you already know, like the last season was a little rough. I'm still on that Tyler Loop and that game against Pittsburgh, but here we are.
Yeah, Ravens fan. You covered the Washington, but you're a Ravens fan.
Yes.
Got it. Well, let's talk about your team that you cover, the Washington Commanders. And me on the outside looking in, if the Commanders probably have a lot of pressure on them this year. The reason being, I say, because they just seen what Caleb Williams did. We all know the comparison between Jaden McDaniels and Caleb Williams. A lot of people felt like the Chicago Bears should have took Jaden McDaniels and that controversy. And I hate to be the one to break the news. So far, Caleb Williams is winning that debate, especially what we just seen in this last playoffs of him having that clutch gene. Like the kid has that clutch gene.
Did you forget what JD5 did last year, though, carrying the team to 12-5 in the NFC Championship game?
No, I didn't forget, but Caleb Williams just did something like
that. And mind you, Caleb did a good job. Moment. But Commanders went a step. I'm just saying, we're being all fair again. Commanders went a step further and were like just short, right, of going to New Orleans just last season. And mind you, they lose to the eventual who? Champions.
I agree, but if it wasn't for Matthew Stafford, if it wasn't for that, I mean, Caleb Williams had like one of the craziest plays. Goes back like 30 yards, throw a 50-yard crazy throw that only, in my opinion, only two other guys can make that throw, which is Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers in his prime. And this dude, I mean, oh my goodness, the dude is crazy.
Cole Kmet and the catch, and if DJ Moore and Caleb Williams had been on the same page, what might have been, what could have happened. Mm-hmm. And believe me, that one hurt, especially because I watched and covered DJ Moore at Maryland. I know how great DJ Moore is. But Caleb, I just love the narrative that he was able to change. And my gosh, the Bears and what they were able to do. Last season it was the Commanders that were the cardiac kids. This season it being the Bears, and being able to clean up some of those mistakes, but so close. But I love it because I know there was a lot of people questioning Caleb Williams after last season. And believe me, I've been on Sports Talk Radio in Chicago. I hear the noise. I talk with former players. And, now I love it's a trend. Painted nails and matchas. Like Caleb Williams is the vibe.
Hey, you're not having those negative talks anymore. That talk is gone. I promise you. Like, hey, I don't live in Chicago. I haven't been in Chicago, but I guarantee you the kid is he's a celebrity. He's a star. And
a DMV product, Freddie, came from the good roots here in the DMV area. So look, the DMV knew what Caleb Williams could be. I think now the world knows what Caleb Williams
and not only that, he's a bigger fan of Chicago because they beat the Packers. Because we've known Aaron Rodgers have owned the Packers for how many years now?
Too long.
So I just have to ask the question.
Packers and Aaron Rodgers.
So I have to ask the question though. Are you still taking Jaden McDaniel over Caleb Williams, or what is Kelsey doing?
Well, first, Freddie, I got to get this straight with you because DC fans will kill me if I don't. Jaden Daniels, you're giving him a whole minute.
Jaden Daniels, yes. Jaden Daniels.
I knew who you meant. Honestly, let's be honest. I think, to be fair, it's hard to compare them this past season because Jaden's injuries, right? Jaden was hurt numerous times. He wasn't able to be his full self, right? That I think we were able to see in year one. Year one, my gosh, like what Jaden was able to do as a rookie, you don't see it like that, right? Like it's crazy. And you look at Caleb's, and it's funny because let's remember, a lot of people would credit Caleb Williams' slump after that game in Washington, right, where Noah Brown had that catch, and the Commanders go on to win, and the Bears season gets much different, right, in that 2024 season, and then lo and behold, obviously the Commanders were able to do some great things. All that to say, I like both of them. it's hard for me to put one over the other right now because again, it's a small product. Seeing that they're both new in the league, but like when Jaden is able to, have that long balls like Caleb that you mentioned, it's a beautiful thing. When Jaden again, when healthy, when he's able to like be elusive, and get out that pocket. It's a beautiful thing. Same for Caleb. And so I think right now, honestly, I think quarterback class wise, I mean, I have to give credit where credit is due to both of them. I think both of them are such good examples of the Black quarterback and the plight of the Black quarterback and what the Black quarterback can be. And I think unfortunately for Jaden, I think because of his injuries, he's going through what Caleb went through last year in terms of fans starting to have the doubt. I'm in Washington. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and said, "Oh, we should have took Drake May." Okay, do you guys remember Drake May's year before this season? And you guys were laughing, right?
Yeah.
People have selective amnesia and the recent amnesia bias, and I'm like, let's not do that. And mind you, I know how much about Drake May and what Drake May has been able to do, even though the last game was a bit ugly with the interception and the fumbles, just saying, but they were able to pull out of that. And honestly, I think how the Patriots having, I think, a very favorable odd in their favor as well, because Freddie, who could have thought what would happen to the Broncos? What happened to the Broncos with Bo Nix? Like, I mean, it's wild, right, to be there. But all that to say, like, I like Caleb's trajectory. I like him and coach, right, Ben Johnson and what he's been able to do for that team. I like what Chicago's building. And I really do think, especially with the weapons, with Rome. And I mean, Chicago was that team you just don't want to see, Freddie. I'll be honest with you. Like, again, I think their upside is so high. And I think Chicago's going to be back in the playoffs, Freddie, next season. Like, I mean, I'm already book it. Like, I think it's very, very exciting. Chicago's not an easy city to play in. Probably behind Philly. I probably put maybe Chicago behind Philly in terms of, like the fans and fandom and how hard it could be. But I think, he took it, he owned it, and he came back. And now I think the biggest thing for JD5 here in Washington will be what can he do in year 3 to hopefully bounce back. And, mind you, new offensive coordinator, right? In Washington, we'll see what happens with that. But I'm excited for both of them, and I think both of them will have some long tenured careers in the National Football League.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give Kelsey a pass because she's not on First Take, and she knows Stephen A. She's talked to him a couple of times, and she knows she's on First Take. Stephen A. was not going to go for that at all. Like, no, it's no. Oh, I can't be you. I need an answer. So I'm gonna give you a pass. But if you blink twice, we all know it's Caleb Williams.
Did she blink Freddie, twice? No. This season, yes, because of the injuries. I'll give you that
one. But ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Commanders, they finished 5-12. A lot had to do not with Jaden Daniels' talent. It was injuries. He was hurt most of the season. Banged up. The team wasn't able to do a lot of stuff. Kelsey, are you hearing some changes that they're making to get ready for this upcoming season? Any expectation? Free agency, we know they're gonna have a high draft pick, I believe, between like 5 and 7, around that area. So, are you hearing if any upgrades, anything that Jaden is doing in the offseason to prepare his body? That way, he don't have to worry about doing all these injuries. Or what are you hearing?
I think the biggest thing for Washington, and there's a lot of people looking at that defensive coordinator position. And I'll tell you why, Freddie, because Washington in total defense, they were ranked last. In passing defense, they were ranked 28th. In run defense, they were ranked 30th. You guys, Freddie, how many teams are in the National Football League?
We've got 32,
right?
Yeah, 32.
Notice the numbers I said. They were last in basically everything. So I share that to say I think defense is going to be a key point of emphasis, especially when you have a coach like Dan Quinn, right? You can't have that in Washington. And I think the biggest thing that I think when healthy, remember, not only was JD5 not healthy, you had Terry McLaurin, your top receiver, wasn't healthy, right? A lot fell on Debo. And mind you, I haven't even talked about the 30 free agents that Washington's going to have, both restricted and unrestricted. And I think it's the hardest thing, right? It was hard we were so excited, I think, to begin the season because it's supposed to be Debo and Terry, and JD5 and what could be. And what ended up happening, Freddie, was that, again, these guys couldn't stay healthy and on the team together. And I think that obviously, so you had these young wide receivers that were forced to step up. Noah Brown, Also another guy, right? Talk about health. And then Austin Eckler, no one's talking about that. Like got hurt early this season. I mean, it's like it was a series of unfortunate events, to be honest with you. Zach Ertz at one point in time was the most sure-handed guy on Washington's offense. And then what happened? So I say all that to say, like Washington, obviously when healthy, the defense is going to be a point of emphasis. And then, of course, for Jayden Daniels is also just going to be being able to keep his body. And I remember when he got drafted, remember one of the kind of knacks on him was his frame. Tall, but lean, and then obviously not too far in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson was the same thing when he got drafted, tall and lean. So I think for Jayden, it's going to be really focusing on his actual composition of his body, building it up to be as strong as possible. And this is not to say injuries can't happen. Like I said, I just talked about Bo Nix. Like, I mean, especially quarterbacks this year, my gosh. Freddie, one of the things I've been talking about is preaching why the importance of the backup quarterback role is so important. Saying this whole season, like people were mad, Marcus Mariota's getting the start. I said, if anything, this is a good thing for Washington because Marcus Mariota, they had signed him to a 1-year deal back in March. Notice I talked about, free agents in Washington. Washington has to have this conversation again, either with him or somebody else as it comes. Because again, we don't know what's going to happen with Jayden Daniels. And so I think this season, I mean, look what happened with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. I think if anything, the season is really emphasizing the importance of, again, who's going to be the next guy. Look at what happened with the Giants in the quarterback situation, right? I mean, and we'll see what happens next season, right? Jackson Dart, we're trying to make sure he doesn't get a concussion again, right? So he can So all that to say, there's so much I could go into, but I think the biggest thing with Washington, emphasis on the defense. You got older guys. Washington had the oldest team, Freddie, in the league last season. So that's not to say old men can't ball. But especially on the defensive side of the football, you want some young, fresh legs. And I know there's a lot of conversation happening around Bobby Wagner in Washington and what will be next with that. So again, what will Washington do? It's going to be some big steps. The good thing is they've got money to spend and they have some important decisions to be made. But I think the biggest thing, especially in this next season, Dan Quinn knows some changes have to be made to go from 12-5 to 5-12. It only has to be upward, Freddie, to go back and be competitive. And then NFC East, who now has Coach John Harbaugh in it with the Giants. And I'm not saying that's going to change the Giants, especially in year one. But again, I think the NFC East, you look at the pressure that's going to be on Dak, right? And the Dallas Cowboys and, Jerry, we know he controls that team. And the Eagles being a big kind of flop this year, falling short and flat. So all that to say, Washington has some important steps if they want to get back atop the NFC East.
Kelsey, you're about to be introduced to your very first Freddie Fact moment. I'm going to say all to the people in DC. I know they're talking about moving the team. Where are they talking about moving the team? I know they're talking about
back to DC, Freddie. From land over to the city. Yeah, okay. People are excited. The old RFK to become the new RFK.
Well, I want to let everybody know, the Washington Commanders fan, everybody know that there is a new sheriff in town, and his name is John Harbaugh. Hey, he brings a pedigree of winning. He instantly is the best coach in the NFC East, and that's not up for debate. He is the best coach in the NFC East. I'm a Giants fan. If you don't know by now, and this is a Freddie Fact moment. They're coming. They're coming, ladies and gentlemen.
Freddie, in year one, we're putting the Giants up to the top.
Well, I'm not gonna say year one, but I said they're coming. They're coming. They're going to surprise a lot of people. They have a young quarterback in Jackson Dart, and I love the kid. I really do. He has the swagger. He has the
toughness. I like Jackson Dart too, but he's got to keep himself upright more so he doesn't get concussed, Freddie. That's all I ask.
But you know what, Kelsey? I kind of disagree with that.
Okay.
I believe the New York Giants have to protect him.
Oh, fair. The offensive line, very, very fair.
This is something that us Giants fans have been complaining about since Eli's been in the league. Offensive line has stunk. It has been so bad. The sewage, it does not even compare to the sewage in the New York City. It doesn't even compare to it. It doesn't compare to it.
Sewage in New York City.
It's that bad. Now, granted, last year it had some improvement. It had some improvement last year, and it probably helps that Jackson Dart is a little bit more mobile than an Eli Manning, so he is able to scramble in and out. out the pocket, but you
Right.
have Malik Neighbors on the other side. If we get another receiver to complement him, and then that defense with Burns and oh my
The
goodness,
defense, yes. The defense, I'm like safe, like you said, Neighbors, like the weapons are there. The quarterback situation was what was interesting, right? With New York, from Jackson to obviously Jameis. And can I ask, what the hell were y'all doing with Russell Wilson? Like, what is all the hate to Russell Wilson? But let me ask you that as a Giants fan, because
I
y'all are
don't
mean to Russell.
Russell. I think a lot of people was expecting Russ to be the Seattle Russell Wilson, but they
And
didn't see him
everybody
in
keeps trying
Denver.
to put that on him. Yeah.
But
He's
that's definitely not him. And,
yeah.
I kind of feel bad for him. He asked out of Seattle a little bit too late because with the time that he got out of Seattle, he just didn't look the same.
But the Broncos experiment was, I think him and Sean Payton, that was bad. That was toxic.
So you think he should have went somewhere else?
I mean, let's be honest. So when Sean Payton left the Saints, right, we didn't know, right, that he would end up obviously going back in the league, back to Broncos or to the Broncos. That's hilarious. I see the comment to the Broncos. And Sean Payton likes certain types of people. Like he likes Bo, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And what they were able to do was great. Let me tell you, like Sean Payton, especially in primetime games, we know he can coach.
Yeah.
But you could I feel like he didn't give Russell like a chance. It just seemed like they didn't click, and like, you know what, like we can't coexist. And it's kind of like if anybody has had a bad boss, even if you're trying your best and you're doing your best, usually it's just not going to work out, right? There has to be some type of vibe, right? Like the whole thing before John left for Baltimore was, him and Lamar were so close. It was going well until we heard it maybe wasn't anymore. And not like John was kind of just doing what he wanted to, be doing in terms of the offense. So all that to say, like, I think Russ has been in some bad situations, but especially again, when I look at the quarterbacks that have been hurt this season, look what happened to the Colts. Freddie, who did they end up calling?
Hey,
Rivers, right? Who just interviewed for now a head coach job with the Buffalo Bills.
He got to keep the insurance. He have to keep the insurance. He got all them kids. Look at all the kids he have, Kelsey. Look at him. I mean,
I'm just saying, Russell should at least at a minimum have a good backup job with a good team in the league right now as it is. Like, I'm not fully giving up on Russ. As you said, he's not the same in Seattle, but I'm not expecting that to be. But I feel like in the right situation, I do think we can get good quarterback play from Russ.
You're absolutely right. It does matter. And we witnessed that this year in Pittsburgh. We seen Aaron Rodgers at he's 41, 42 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Go in there. And yes, he didn't look like prime Aaron Rodgers.
Because last game, Freddie, he was looking a little bit old. But other than that, yes. Like Aaron,
but I guarantee you, if you look at his numbers and his numbers alone, he still put up great numbers, better than half the league.
Yes, Aaron Rodgers. Look, and mind you, I know there's big questions about the future, but like you said, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, and the fact that he was able to go into that AFC North rivalry with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and lead the Steelers from behind, right, to go in front, and then Baltimore, of course, was able to come back and obviously came a kick short from winning, but. My gosh, like I give him like and playing in Pittsburgh and what him and Mike T were able to do, and obviously, man, I love to if this was his last hurrah that he was able to go out with a coach like Mike Tomlin and an organization like the Steelers.
Absolutely right, and that's why I believe my Giants have a chance. It's so much dysfunctional on the division. You have the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys and the Eagles already.
Hey, Kelsey, the Cowboys will find a way to mess it up. Jerry Jones will find a way. He'll find a way to let Pickens go. He'll find a way to lose somebody. Dak, we all know Dak is like a roller coaster. He'll have a good year this year, and next year he'll go through the injury bug. I mean, it's just something with them. The Philadelphia Eagles. What's going to happen with AJ Brown? Jalen Hurts.
AJ, they got to figure out. Jalen, I like though. Jalen's a dog.
I do, but I feel sorry for him.
Nick Sirianni too. Got to give him props.
I feel sorry for Jalen. What other quarterback that has won the things that Jalen Hurts have accomplished in his so early career go through so much hate in that Philadelphia market?
Isn't it wild? Like I tell Eagles fans that, like, you guys are complaining about a guy that just recently won you a Super Bowl. Like Jalen is so, I think, underrated and very wild. Like, I mean, he's done a good job in Philly. Now, mind you, Philly has a good team on paper. yes, like that. Philly is like a quarterback's dream, minus maybe the AJ Brown drama. But like overall, I mean, what he's been able to balance and do, and with different offensive coordinators on a rotating balance, give Jalen Hurts some props. Like he deserves it, and I really. But all that to say, I still think Philadelphia is Philadelphia. The NFC East, I think, will still probably have to go through Philly. Like you said, Dallas is interesting based on because let's remember, Dak at one point in the season, people were talking about what Freddie MVP.
MVP
At one point in the season. I mean, again, I'm unbiased, objective journalist. Like I have to say what was happening. And so really it became, people talking about Dallas, people talking about the Eagles. And then it was the Commanders and Giants pretty much fighting for the bottom, right, of the two, to be honest, especially once you knew JD5 was hurt, right? Marcus Mariota, getting the start in Washington. So all that to say, like, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I think when the coaching carousel finishes, Freddie, it's going to be very interesting, the National Football League. Because, I mean, my gosh, all of these openings, all of this movement. I think Mike Tomlin, too, choosing to sit out right now was very interesting because obviously he would have been, propelled to the top and a lot of eyes on Anthony Weaver. Like, I'm just so curious where the dominoes fall and drop.
I'm so ready to see what next year going to be like. I really think we're going to see the same thing, especially when people know that Mike Tomlin is on the sideline. Like, I believe teams are going to open up spots just for that man because Mike Tomlin, ladies and gentlemen, he's a leader. He can coach. The Pittsburgh Steelers just did not do what the Green Bay Packers did. A lot of people criticize them for drafting Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. They criticized them when they had Brett Favre when they got Aaron Rodgers. But, it works. They've won Super Bowls.
So,
they have consistent quarterback play.
Quarterback. I mean, Pittsburgh was known for what? The defense for the most part, right? And they were able to do. And mind you, I don't think they had really paid a lot of attention to that quarterback position, right? Let's go back to Pickett, right? He wasn't what they thought he would be, right? I mean, Justin Fields, right? Also wasn't, what they thought would be, so all that to say. And then I think people always also forget, may he rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins when he was there. Right. And I think that's not brought up enough. So all of that to say, like Pittsburgh, again, the Ben Roethlisberger days and that rivalry, Big Ben would get it done. Like, I mean, just toughness and grit, he would find a way to get it done. Was he the best quarterback? No, but he didn't have to be. Like, I think Pittsburgh always had power in being like balanced.
But also, I believe they made a mistake by letting Pickens go. Because if you had Pickens next to DK, I believe that would have been another weapon that Rodgers would have trusted, and that would have made a huge difference. It would have opened it up for the other guys. It would have helped the running game.
Pickens, I completely agree with that. Pickens, in terms of wide receiver, yes, I think completely agree. But who also would have thought, like, what happened with DK would have happened with DK, and that whole debacle.
What? I bet you that brother was praying on his knees. Oh, please don't let them lose to Baltimore. Oh, please don't let them lose to Baltimore. Because if they would have lost to Baltimore, oh my goodness, the city of Pittsburgh would have just came after that man.
Oh my gosh, would have been
wild. Before I get you out of here, let's talk about the conference championship real quick. Your prediction: who do you have winning? The first game, we have the New England Patriots going against the Denver Broncos. The Patriots are having a pretty remarkable season. Pretty good.
Yeah,
a season that nobody's seen it. Nobody's seen it coming. Who do Kelsey Nicole Nelson having winning out of that matchup?
Look, y'all. I know everyone can try to sell me this Jarrett Stidham this, Jarrett Stidham that. The man hasn't played in 2 seasons. 4 career starts, and Sean Payton can say all he wants. He's going to come out throwing that thing. Let's be honest. You're going to have to protect that ball. You're going to have to rely on some of that run game and rely a hell of a lot on your defense. I think the Patriots coming out that game, they'll have to clean up, obviously, the fumbles. I see them, and the Patriots, the weapons, too, that they have. And then I think we're hearing, right, that Mac Hollins was able to practice just today. So you get another threat back potentially, already with what they have with Diggs and so on. So all that to say, it's hard unless somehow players are just going down one by one in that game for the Patriots. But Sean Payton, I would say don't underestimate him, but that's too much. That's a lot to put on the back of Jarrett Stidham in that game, Freddie.
I agree with you, but this is the 2026 playoffs. We have seen crazy.
We
I'm not
have
gonna
seen
pick.
crazy. It could happen,
I,
but I'm just
I,
not doubting. I'm not a betting
I'm not
woman.
picking. I'm not picking the Broncos, but I can see it happening.
Wouldn't
I
that
can
be
see it
something if
happening.
they get to the Super Bowl with
Uh,
Jarrett? Oh my gosh! Like first off, it could be good for us journalists because storylines galore. Like, I mean, it's
mm,
wild, but like, I mean, just my gosh. But shout out to Bo Nix because I mean, the fact that he was able to carry this team to this moment. I got another underrated guy that found a way to get stuff done. Maybe it wasn't always the prettiest, maybe it wasn't always the flashiest, but he got it done. And here we are talking about this Broncos team. So I just hate
absolutely.
that for him to go down. I saw the post his wife Izzy posted, when basically when they found out the bad news, about the ankle.
Mm,
But just a trooper
absolutely.
and a warrior.
Because I was born in California, so I'm an LA fan at heart. I'm
Oh,
an
I know
LA
where
fan
you're
at
going.
heart.
I know
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
going, Freddie, with this.
I'm a Lakers fan, even though we have a whole bunch of dysfunction going on over there. We not gonna. I'm a Dodgers
I can
fan.
ask you about Jeannie Buss then.
Oh, yeah, Jeannie Buss. Laker fans, we loved her, but I think we're kind of glad when they sold the team. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, because like she said, LeBron don't deserve to be a part of the family drama. Us
Mm.
Laker fans don't deserve to be a part of the family drama.
I don't know.
Um,
That's a rich family drama to be part of, Freddie. I'm just saying.
hey, I agree. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot. Um, I'm actually praying and hoping they create another documentary so we can see the scoop of it. I just want to see it.
I feel like that might be in
Um,
the works. I can see it.
um, Dodgers fan, love. Hey, glad we have the owner because we see. Hey, we're going to have a baseball lockout soon because of that owner.
My
He's not afraid to
gosh.
spend some money. A lot of people don't like that. But we got to talk about the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. My
Yeah.
MVP, Matthew Stafford.
You have him
Who?
bouncing back, going against that Seattle defense and winning it.
Oh, 100%. I
I do
believe
like Seattle.
Seattle.
I mean, I'm sorry. I do like LA, but Matthew, I hope he's fully able to be his greatest because that last game, Freddie, wasn't the best.
He's looked kind of shaky this playoffs,
Yeah,
even
the
against the.
playoffs, he hasn't been him. That's kind of why
Yeah.
I like LA too, but he's gonna have to pull it together because something's happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially going against the last game, you could definitely tell he was not comfortable in that pocket.
Yep.
Give credit to Chicago Bears defense that they played the best defense that they had all year long. He was kind of timid. He was kind of shaky. He was doing a little two-step.
And
He was
he's
doing it
going against
all.
the top scoring defense in Seattle,
Yeah.
right? You have a top scoring offense, top scoring defense. This is going to be
But,
the game to watch, I think.
but this is my prediction. Seattle will be leading the whole game. But just like always, Matthew Stafford has that gene. He has that Kobe gene. He has that Michael Jordan gene, and he's gonna have that clutch gene. And
Yeah.
he's just him. And it's gonna be Devontae Adams.
And
Minute
Devontae's due for a bit. I like that. But on the
yeah.
other side of the ball, a lot of people talking about Kenneth Walker. You don't think? And I know
Yeah.
Seattle has the injury bug, so a lot more will be on. It's just, and then so you're not believing in Sam Darnold.
I don't believe in him, and I don't believe in their coach. And they've had a great year. They've had a great year, but I'm
Yeah.
all about experience. Hey,
Yeah.
like last week, I believe Ben Johnson showed the reason why he's the rookie, and McVay showed why he has the experience. Because the first play of the game, Chicago goes down the field. Instead of kicking the field goal, they go for it, interception.
Yeah.
And Sean McVay, I was watching this. Oh, Sean, you have to be more gutsy. You have to take chances. Come on, what are you doing? But Sean McVay proved that, hey, I'm gonna lean on my defense. I'm gonna lean on my veteran quarterback, and we'll be okay. So, and I believe it'll go the same way this game: experience versus, and a lot of pressure. The pressure's on Sam Darnold. We know
Yeah.
that he's still dealing with an injury, and I just think it's going to catch up to him.
Right.
He
That
had a
open
remarkable
injury.
season.
And then you got to hope he doesn't throw a pick. I think in this one too. This is gonna be interesting. I think this is the harder one. Like I said, not a betting woman. This is the harder one. I'm giving the Rams the edge, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, Freddie, if it were Seattle.
I got you. Before I let you get out of here, I have to ask you one last question because I'm
Yes.
interested now. I'm about to hop on another show in 30 minutes, and it's going to be the question. It's about the Lakers. Do you think the Lakers wasted LeBron's prime, or do you think LeBron has wasted the Lakers' time?
I definitely don't think LeBron has wasted the Lakers' time, but I do think they've given him too much leeway with just, again, the decisions that have had to be made on that squad. It's the Jerry Jones, but him. But again, I understand who LeBron is and why they would. But I think we all know the Lakers could have had better around him. To do better. Let's just be honest. But they also aren't the Wizards right now, so you guys better take what you have and with a smile.
Yeah, but we're not used to this, Kelsey. When we had Kobe, we had Magic.
Oh, you're going back to the prime days.
We didn't have guys that had an agent that was influencing this and that. And
it's a different NBA now, just like it's a different college game now, right? Like, I mean, everything's different.
I agree. But hey, you guys, you can catch me on the next show. I'll give my opinion on it. It's going to be fire. I promise you. But I just want to thank you for coming on. Just thank you for being who you are, being the example for us sports analysts, up and coming sports analysts that's trying to pave the way. Thank you for paving the way. And we just appreciate everything that you do. Please tell the people where they can follow you once again.
Well, thanks again so much, Freddie. It's so great to meet you all. I mean, the fans. Great to see Freddie again because we're family. This goes back.
There you go.
But it's been a joy. So again, I hope everyone connects with me. KelseyNicoleNelson.com at the Real K Nelson on social media. Just Kelsey Nicole Nelson on Facebook and LinkedIn. And yeah, keep in contact, people. Like I love this, Freddie. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. And I'm glad I just had a chance and honor to grace Freddie Facts.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, this is a different type of Freddie Facts. Normally, they hear me screaming, yelling, going off. So it was kind of different. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to surprise a little bit.
You can go back to screaming. Like, I'm here for it.
Right. But I just want to thank you for coming on once again. Just appreciate it. Hey, make sure you guys go follow the Prime Cover Sports Network. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, X. I like to call it Twitter, but they call it X now.
I know. I'm still getting used to calling it X too. It was Twitter for us. We grew up with Twitter.
Right, exactly. And all those platforms. Thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful night. My buddy Chris, like, no screaming. I'll talk to you later. All right, you guys. You guys have a good night. Thank you, Kelsey. Have a good night
too. Thanks, Freddie.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey. Drop.
Prime Coverage Sports Network. Real coverage, real conversation.